Happy weekend, everyone. Josh's Severe Weather. Hope you all had a wonderful week and you're getting some rest and relaxation out there. We've got some nasty weather to talk about here over the next few days. A pretty big storm sweeping eastward here. I'm going to share my screen with you and talk about that. And really, this could be a bad setup for some of you here in the southern and eastern states over the next few days. We've got a pretty quick moving storm system that's going to bring a widespread area of severe weather from Colorado and Kansas right on down through the south and up the East Coast here into the start of next week. And it will bring a risk for some pretty nasty wind and hail, especially I think later tomorrow over parts of the deep south from Arkansas into Alabama. But also a lot of heavy rainfall and perhaps a flooding threat here as we get later into tomorrow and into the day on Monday over parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states. We're talking maybe a significant amount of rainfall on top of what's already been a pretty wet start to the month here of July. And we're going to continue to have hot, humid weather along this boundary and onto the south, but areas off to the north are getting some cooling rain this morning and some cooler temperatures for the weekend. That is not going to last for long, though, as we head on into next week. Here is a look at our current radar. This is from Radar Omega, and you can see some beneficial rain falling right now over portions of Illinois and Indiana with no severe weather. We are definitely enjoying every drop that we can get. Farther north, some cooling rain as well over parts of Michigan and Wisconsin. This is all going to track eastward and head into Ohio and southwest Ontario later today. But where we've got more sunshine and more heat, more humidity, we do have the threat for a climbing rate of severe weather here today and especially tomorrow over portions of the south. You can see scattered showers and storms moving across western Tennessee and northern Mississippi. These will track eastward and fade. Additional storms will develop as the air heats up this afternoon. We do have a spin in the atmosphere that we're keeping an eye on southeast of Tulsa, heading towards Fort Smith. We call this kind of an MCV, a mesoscale convective vortex. Bit of a spin up here that we're going to keep an eye on as it tracks east and southeastward. But after this wave today, there'll be more tomorrow. And you can see showers and storms over West Texas, Southwest Oklahoma, and eastern New Mexico with a disturbance trailing along our cold front. That is going to be what we have to keep an eye on here tomorrow. Getting some rain in Florida as well around the Tampa Bay area and right on up I-4 towards the west side of Orlando. So a little bit of a shock to see some rain early in the day, but we are seeing it. But South Florida remains very hot as we had a record high in Miami yesterday of, I think, 97 degrees. You always think of Florida as being hot, but when you're on the coast, it rarely does get too hot because of the cooling sea breeze. So let's take a look here at the Storm Prediction Center's forecast for today and tonight. A slight risk encompasses over 11 million people from just east of Denver, including Aurora, right on down through the high plains, along the Red River, and all the way into the lower parts of the Mississippi River Valley, well, mid-Mississippi Valley, all the way down to just north of Jackson and just west of Nashville. That includes Little Rock. It includes Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, Denton, Texas, all the way back to Aurora, Colorado. And surrounding that is a marginal risk for severe weather, which has over 30 people in that risk, or 30 million people in that risk. It says 29, but I think that area is going to grow here. Not a big tornado threat, but towards the evening hours, we're going to keep an eye on the high plains of Colorado and New Mexico for tornadoes. More likely, we're dealing with a lot of widespread wind damage. That was the case yesterday. I think that's the case again here this afternoon and evening. And a 15% risk in our slight risk here from near Denver over to Memphis and just north of Jackson. There'll also be a threat for some hail over the high plains from Wyoming down into North Texas. There could be maybe some big hail out of some of this, especially I think over southeastern Colorado and right on up into the Front Range region. As we head into tomorrow, we'll see some severe weather in the plains, but not as great a risk as what we're going to see farther south and east. And right now, a slight risk posted from northeastern Texas right on eastward through the deep south and up the East Coast, all the way up to about Baltimore and the eastern shore here of the Delmarva. There will be the threat for not really tornadoes, but a lot of wind damage out of these, a lot of microbursts. And I personally think that the area over in here, over the not the Delta region, eastward towards about Birmingham, does stand a chance at maybe seeing some enhancement in this severe weather, maybe some stronger winds, maybe 70+ mile per hour wind, maybe some larger hail as well, but certainly damaging microbursts. So I would not be shocked if we saw an upgrade across this area coming for tomorrow. Up the East Coast, we will see nasty storms as well in the afternoon and a lot of rain with them as well. And it's possible this slight risk area does make it north of the Mason-Dixon line into eastern Pennsylvania and western New Jersey and Delaware as well. So if you're in that area, be on the lookout for potentially an upgrade coming, depending on how things play out here. Also a threat for hail across this same region, but we are talking all in all, over 100 million people could see severe weather on your Sunday. So be prepared for that. And I'll go over why that's going to happen. As we get to Monday, this front makes its way to the eastern seaboard. There will still be potentially severe weather, but certainly heavy rainfall over the Northeast and New England. Also a threat for heavy rain and storms over parts of the Southeast. And then our next storm system comes out of the Rockies. You can see, I don't know who drew the marginal map. It's massive, but there could be certainly severe weather anywhere in this darker green area. And certainly we're focused on the high plains here for a slight risk for severe weather, which includes likely some hail, maybe a few tornadoes, and certainly some strong winds as well. So next week, the pattern is going to get busy again. The Storm Prediction Center does not have an area yet highlighted from days 4 through 8. I will guarantee you, though, we will see some severe weather, especially in the plains and probably in parts of the southeast once again, as our next ridge here builds northeastward and we see disturbances coming up and over it. So right now, the water vapor image, this is from tropicaltidbits.com. Great site. Please support it if you can. I know a lot of folks in the weather community do. And let me pull up my cursor here and kind of show you what's going on. So we've got a large region of high pressure here in the southwest and a large trough over central Canada. In between, we have multiple disturbances. You can see there's kind of a circulation right here and a bit of a circulation right here. These are all tracking eastward and northeastward. Behind it, we have another disturbance, which is forecast to kind of drop into this direction here tomorrow. And that will enhance storm activity in this area, I believe. But nothing is moving quickly. Because we've got kind of a squeeze going on between this high pressure region right here and another high pressure region blocking over Canada, really Greenland, and it's not on this map. So that's going to slow the progress of our front as it moves eastward. Let me clear this and show you kind of where the front's going to be hanging out on Monday. It's going to be kind of right in here. And on the tail end of it, we've got more severe weather. And then we're going to have slow moving storms up and down the eastern seaboard into Monday. So just a very slow moving pattern here. But what I will show you is that this region of high pressure in the southwest does show signs that it is going to expand eastward around July 18th to 21st. And as it does that, temperatures are going to heat up here. And I did talk about that in yesterday's video. I'm not really going to cover it today because we've got some time to watch it. Here is a look at the upper mid-level pattern here with winds. And you can see some stronger winds here this morning over Missouri and Illinois. As we take this on into the afternoon, we do have part of this energy moving into Ohio, another piece moving down into downstate Illinois, and then yet another piece emerging across the southern high plains tonight over Oklahoma. And you can see winds aloft do pick up. We've got 50-knot winds at 700 millibars here this evening over Oklahoma. And then that is the area I'm keeping an eye on here for tomorrow. Notice how it moves south and east into a richer environment and enhances itself. And we could have wind speeds at 60 knots or greater over Arkansas. So we're going to be watching this part of the deep south. If this model of the NAM is right, I think we do see an enhanced risk tomorrow. If it's wrong, we may stick with a slight risk, but either way, there will be that chance for severe weather. So do be prepared for that. That is going to expand south and eastward and could still bring severe weather into the Carolinas, especially the coastal plain and even northern Florida here on Monday afternoon. Before it does that, though, on Sunday, you will see here just a general broad southwest flow that's sending that moisture and that storm fuel up the East Coast. While we don't have any one trigger for it, we will definitely have enough instability for some severe weather with that heating of the day. But because this flow in between these two disturbances is not very strong, we do have slow movers, which will bring us that threat for heavy rainfall. Not just Sunday, but Monday as well. See how we're kind of in between everything? We've got this huge trough over the Huron Bay, and we've got a pretty big trough moving through the southeast. In between, very weak steering flow, but a lot of moisture. So where this front hangs out, because things are not moving quickly, we do have that threat for heavy rainfall. So I'll get to that in just a little bit. Here is our CAPE. This is convective available potential energy. It's storm fuel. And you can see it's climbing here over the south, over the southern plains. This is this afternoon around 5 o'clock. And a lot of storm fuel in the northeast over the Ohio Valley and along the Gulf states and the Red River Valley for that matter. And just until this front pushes it all out here, we're going to have this juice in place here for lots of heavy rain and lots of stronger storms, continuing on into Monday here, it looks like, and really even into Monday afternoon over parts of the Northeast. And then our next surge of moisture and instability brings us storm fuel up into Minnesota, the Dakotas, eastern Wyoming here for Monday night. Here's a look at what the radar may look like from the NAM. And this is kind of back in time. We're already at about 1314Z, but we see storms over southeast Oklahoma, moving into Arkansas this afternoon, more development over Wyoming and western Nebraska, and eventually we'll see that in Colorado, and there could be some hailers in here, maybe a tornado or two, and some strong winds. Things will quiet down in Oklahoma this evening, but we do see additional storm development here overnight, moving in from the northwest. This is our next convective complex here, not a derecho, but certainly one that could produce a lot of widespread strong winds and heavy rain. It moves right through Oklahoma City here around 4 and 5 in the morning. We're going to see a lot of rain, a lot of lightning strikes, and maybe some strong winds. Then it heads into Arkansas around lunchtime, and then into the Delta region in the afternoon tomorrow. And I'll zoom back over to that area so you can see it here a little bit more in detail. Texas, we've seen tropical downpours along the coast. Louisiana, we're going to see pop-ups here. This is later today. This is the first disturbance, and then we've got more organization coming through, and we've got to keep an eye on storms across this area here, moving into southeastern Arkansas and northwest Mississippi. If I pull up a forecast sounding, you'll see it's pretty unstable. Not necessarily severe weather. We've got kind of unidirectional winds out of the west, southwest, not really tornadoes, but look how unstable it is. The air quickly drops off in its temperature. The air becomes very buoyant, and we likely see what's going to be some stronger winds and some microbursts here. And obviously, as hot as it's been, you don't want to see power outages over a large area because that's going to leave you in the dark here with nasty heat to follow. These storms will become more organized over Mississippi, maybe southwest Tennessee and Alabama here around 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll continue. We've got a couple waves that are set to move through. Here's our front. It's going to be perched over the I-20 corridor here Sunday night, and then we'll advance slowly southeastward here on Monday and should cut the heat down and dry things out here across the Mid-South here by Monday morning. Here's a look at the southeast. You see the storms moving through central Florida this morning, and then South Florida will get busy this afternoon. As hot as it's been, find it hard to believe we won't have a little bit of severe weather in parts of central and South Florida. But here's the next wave of storms moving through this afternoon and early evening over Tennessee and Mississippi, even the Florida parishes of Louisiana. Those will die tonight, but the next wave will be more intense as it moves in here tomorrow afternoon. And you can see the NAM radar, forecast radar shows cellular storms here, which I do think could produce some hail and powerful winds around Jackson, Mississippi and Tuscaloosa. This is at about 5 o'clock central tomorrow. More storms over northeastern Florida and southern Georgia, and it will be busy right on into the start of next week on the coastal plain here of the southeast. Multiple complexes diving east-southeastward. Look at all this rain Monday in the Carolinas, and I'm going to move that up here in just a second. In the Midwest, or the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, we see beneficial rain here. Probably not a ton of severe weather, but keep an eye on storms this afternoon and evening. Tomorrow we see yet another surge of showers and storms moving across the Tennessee Valley region. It's going to affect the entire TVA area here tomorrow afternoon and evening. We will dry out though from the Ohio River on north. Should be a very nice Sunday for you. And then Monday looks pretty nice as well as everything moves off to the south and east. A rare cold front moving through here in the middle of July, but it'll get hot again in about 9-10 days. In the Mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley, we are looking at rain and storms moving through. Even parts of Michigan will see thunderstorms here towards the end of the afternoon, but slow movers expected here over the Carolinas and Virginia. So we may see a repeat of yesterday where we had some warnings, a few microbursts, even on the southwest side of the Raleigh area where I live yesterday. I didn't get much rain, but it was very electric. I think we'll see something like that again today and especially tomorrow. And nothing is moving quickly here. So take a look at tomorrow afternoon over parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and all the way down to North Carolina. Everything is nasty. It's slow moving. Nothing is in a hurry here. Look at about 7 p.m. tomorrow. The Delaware Valley right on down I-95 is getting crushed with heavy storms. Maybe severe weather, but certainly lots of lightning and lots of rainfall across this area. And we see a resurgence on Monday farther north and east. The next wave comes through the Carolinas and southern Virginia. The NAM doesn't go on past lunchtime, but again, it's going to be unsettled up the eastern seaboard. We do dry out, though, west of the Delaware River here on Monday. Real quick, I'll get to the Great Lakes. Not a lot after we get through today. Just a few scattered showers and storms, maybe a little bit of hail over parts of Wisconsin, but things die off. It'll cool off pretty nicely here and looks pretty decent overall for Monday or for Sunday. Maybe a few pop-ups in northern Minnesota and around Lake Superior, but that's about it. So enjoy it while you can because it's going to get hot here in about 7, 10 days or so. The Northeast, everything is slow to move through here. And I'll show you potential rain totals from the NAM, but this is tomorrow, and a lot of you are going to have a pretty nasty day. The beaches should be okay till about evening time, but inland areas are going to get crushed here, and also parts of southeastern Canada are going to get crushed as everything moves very slowly off to the eastward. To the east. Monday, New England is in the risk for heavy rain. Severe weather, not a great chance, but there could be a few as we get into the mountains here and down into parts of eastern Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Here's rain across the eastern and central United States, and you can see some huge numbers here over the eastern part of the country here through Monday afternoon. Also some pretty big numbers from Kansas and Oklahoma right on down into Mississippi and Alabama, and some pretty big numbers over North Carolina. I'll zoom in a minute and show you that. Excessive rain chances, we'll look at today, and we see a slight risk of flooding from Colorado, basically our slight risk for our severe weather area, but we could also see a little bit of flooding here on the eastern seaboard today. Now, tomorrow we see a much bigger area of potential flooding from the Hampton Roads and Richmond areas right on up into southern Quebec. So much of the Northeast tomorrow is going to be really getting hit hard, as well as parts of the South with potential flooding rainfall. Heavy rain on the central Gulf states on Monday. We will still see a chance for some flooding over eastern New York and into parts of western and central New England on Monday. And even on into Tuesday, parts of Maine could still be dealing with nasty rain. But our next storm will bring us a chance for storms over the plains, and some of them could be heavy with potential significant rainfall. And then we're back into the Great Lakes and the Missouri Valley here for the day on Tuesday with potential flooding rainfall. Here's a look at zooming in to show you kind of what the next 2 days look like. And a lot of areas in here on the NAM model could pick up significant rain. We see amounts as high as 10 inches, places like Ulster County, New York, 3 to 4 inches in central Delaware, maybe even 5 or 6 here near Dover and up to about Atlantic City. So not a great beach weekend tomorrow. The Raleigh, North Carolina area, the NAM is getting us hit really hard with a few inches of rain. Not everyone will see that, but certainly that's a possibility. And a lot of this rain winding down in Illinois now, but parts of Ohio could see a couple of inches of rain here through the day today into this evening. Then everything shifts east. So not everybody gets pelted. Notice how Louisville is getting missed here. Cincinnati is getting missed, but other parts of Ohio and Indiana are getting some beneficial rain. So we'll take what we can get. In the southeast, you'll see a lot of rain as well here over Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Alabama. And even parts of western Florida, potentially a few inches of rain here as well. And then finally, the south central states, same areas have been getting hit pretty hard here. Oklahoma City, maybe up to 3 inches of rain. Areas to your west could see locally over 6 inches of rain. So I would be alert for flooding here in the Oklahoma City area, as well as northeastern Texas and central and southern parts of Arkansas. And why are we seeing so much rain? Well, look how hot the waters have gotten here. The Gulf, which is our energy source for rain, and the west coast of the Atlantic are all running 2 to 4 degrees Celsius above average. Anytime you've got more heat content in the ocean, you've got more potential water that can fall with our storms. So this is alarming, but right now, no tropical development expected. The conditions are too hostile for that. But if we don't see any improvement in this anomaly here in August and September, then major hurricanes are certainly on the table as a potential here for the Gulf and Eastern United States. They are every season, but this is not helping it. So anyway, be on the lookout for that. I really appreciate your time today. I hope you have a great weekend. If you're new to my channel or if you've come by for the first time, please consider subscribing. I thank you for your time today. I want to give all the glory to God who allows me to do this. My spiritual gift is to be a weather forecaster. I've been doing it professionally for over 20 years as a meteorologist. But my calling, as I found about 10 years ago, is to share the good news that God is here for us, that God loves the world. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And I realize not everybody is a believer, and I am okay with that. I am not here to judge you. But I know a lot of us say that the world is coming to an end, and it very well may one day. But God gives us the opportunity to cherish the gift that he has given us. You know, I've been given the gift to be a meteorologist, but God has given us all a potential gift, and that's to accept Jesus Christ as our Savior so that we can live eternally in heaven. I'm happy to pray for you no matter what your situation is, or if you're struggling in your faith, or if you don't believe, or if you are a believer and have family members who don't. And I ask if you could pray for me. But just wanted to just share that with you because every day I continue to chase the glory of God. And I know Reed Timmer says, never stop chasing. For me, it's never stop chasing God and Christ and to share that love with other folks. And that's just all I wanted to do with you today. And we'll continue to do for you here in future videos. Thank you all so much for your time today. Hope you have a blessed weekend and please be safe. God bless.